Our 4-year anniversary fell on a Sunday this year. Not that we had anything extravagant planned. Emma and I had both been swamped at work, so we agreed to keep it low-key. Her idea, actually. Let's just stay in, she'd said a few nights ago, curling into me like nothing in the world was wrong. Thai food, dumb movies, no makeup, no expectations. Sounded perfect. I got up earlier than usual that morning, made coffee, and even put a little sticky note on her mug that read, "For years. Still wild about you." Cheesy, yeah. But when you've been with someone that long, you realize the small gestures matter more than grand ones. She wasn't home yet, though. Emma had left the night before to crash at Megan's place, after some all-day wedding planning session for one of her clients. She's a freelance event designer, the kind who obsessively color-codes Post-its and makes spreadsheets for brunch menus. Sometimes she works on weekends. A lot lately, actually. I didn't think much of it. Not until I went to plug in my phone around noon and couldn't find my charger. I looked all over, the living room, kitchen drawer, even the nightstand. Nothing. Then I spotted her charger on the counter, already plugged into a portable power bank. Jackpot. But when I plugged my phone into the cable, something weird happened. A screen lit up. Bright white. Unfamiliar. At first I thought it was just the power bank turning on, but then I saw it was a phone, a whole different phone, connected underneath. It had a different lock screen, different wallpaper, and it definitely wasn't mine. Or Emma's. I picked it up, frowning. There was no lock. Just the gallery app flashing a notification at the top. New photo saved. I should have left it alone. I really should have. But instinct took over. Not suspicion, not yet. Just curiosity. The kind that crawls into the back of your skull and whispers, just one peek. I tapped the notification, and it opened right to the latest image. And I swear to you, my heart stopped. It was Emma, standing in front of a full-length mirror in what looked like a hotel room, modern, fancy, soft lighting from a lamp behind her. She was wearing black lace lingerie I'd never seen before. Not even close to the kind of thing she wore around me anymore. Her body was angled. One hip popped, lips slightly parted. And behind her, blurred by the soft focus, was a figure. A man. Just a shadow, really. His upper torso, arm reaching up like he was adjusting his collar or holding something. But he was clearly shirtless. And clearly not me. I can't explain what happened to my body in that moment. It wasn't just rage. It was a kind of paralysis, a full-body shutdown. I sat on the bar stool in the kitchen holding that stranger's phone like it was radioactive, trying to breathe, trying to think. My stomach flipped over itself. My hands went cold. I stared at it for a long time. At her. At the photo. At the date in the corner today. Taken just a couple hours earlier. The woman in the photo looked like my girlfriend. Sure. Same hair, same tattoos, same face. But something was different. The way she looked into the mirror, not playful or goofy like she usually was with selfies. This was posed. Intentional. As asterisk Zool. And the way her mouth was slightly open, it wasn't for a joke. It was for someone else. Someone watching. I wanted it to make sense. I needed it to. Maybe it was a friend's phone. Maybe it was old. Maybe it was some stupid joke they took for a bachelorette party like she said she was planning. Maybe. The door opened. She walked in with a drink in her hand, sunglasses on her head, wearing a loose t-shirt and denim shorts. She looked normal, tired, but relaxed. When she saw me sitting there, holding the phone, everything stopped. She froze mid-step. Our eyes met, and something shifted in her face. Just for a second. Not panic. Not guilt. Strategy. She dropped her keys into the bowl by the door like nothing had happened, forced a smile and said, "Hey babe, what's up?" I said nothing. I didn't even know how to start. I just held up the phone. She tilted her head. "Where did you get that?" "You left it here." She blinked, then walked forward, casually, too casually, and took the phone from my hand. "Oh," she said, glancing at the screen. "That's not mine. That's Megan's. I must have grabbed hers by mistake when I left this morning. We were in a rush, I didn't even check." I didn't respond. She glanced at the image. No flinch. No shame. Just calculation. Oh my God. She laughed, shaking her head. You saw that picture? Seriously? Again, I didn't say anything. I just watched her, studied her. Every breath she took felt like a rehearsal. That was taken forever ago, she said, waving her hand. It was a joke. From Mia's bachelorette weekend. We were messing around in the hotel. Megan dared me to wear that stupid thing and take a boudoir-style photo. There's like 5 of them, all dumb. I can show you if you want. You said this was taken today. What? I pointed to the timestamp. She squinted. Oh, she said slowly. That's because Megan's phone is all messed up. She never updates the date when her battery dies. I told her to fix that. She moved past me into the kitchen like the conversation was over, grabbed a LaCroix from the fridge, and cracked it open. You really thought that was recent? She asked, amused. Babe, come on. I sat there, still, wordless. She turned, expression changing just slightly. Now it was offense. Wounded. Wait. Are you seriously accusing me of something right now? No, I said automatically. I didn't know what it was. It's Megan's phone. That's not even my photo technically. You shouldn't be snooping through other people's stuff. That's kind of messed up. You left it here unlocked. Yeah, because it's not mine. I didn't even know I had it. She was good. I'll give her that. She didn't panic. Didn't crumble. She flipped it. We *p*nized the narrative in real time. I can't believe this is how you're acting on our anniversary, she added. That hit me harder than it should have. Because it worked. For a moment, I really did feel like maybe I was the bad guy. Maybe I'd crossed some line. Invaded her privacy. Jumped to conclusions. I told myself, don't ruin the day. Don't accuse her without proof. Don't be that guy. And maybe, deep down, I just didn't want it to be true. I wanted her to be right. I wanted to believe it really was just a stupid old joke photo taken by drunk girls at a hotel. But even hours later, as we sat eating noodles and watching that same rom-com we watched 4 years ago, I couldn't stop seeing that picture. The mirror, the pose, the shadow of the man behind her. I didn't say anything else that night. Neither did she. But I knew, even then, that something had just cracked wide open between us. And no matter how much I wanted to pretend otherwise, I'd already seen too much to unsee it. After that night, things didn't go back to normal, but we both pretended like they did. That was Emma's specialty, acting. She could wear guilt like a shade of lipstick, noticeable if you stared too long, but passable in the right lighting. I didn't bring the photo up again. Maybe I should have. But instead, I filed it away in the back of my mind like a loose wire I didn't know how to fix. What I did start doing was replaying everything that had led up to that day. All the odd behavior I'd ignored. All the little signs I'd chalked up to stress. They started lining up in my head like puzzle pieces that didn't fit until now. The project meetings. That was the first thing. Suddenly, she had so many of them. Meetings with vague names, interior sourcing, client discovery, venue walkthrough. First, I believed her. I mean, she was self-employed. Her schedule was always a bit fluid. But lately she was out more than she was home. And when she came back, she was different, colder. I didn't want to be the cliché paranoid boyfriend, so I ignored it when she started coming home late. But there were things I couldn't unfeel. The way her skin smelled faintly of something that wasn't hers. The way she'd head straight for the shower before saying hello. The way she'd actually flinch, if I touched her shoulder from behind like I was a stranger. Emma used to be affectionate. Not overly clingy, just warm, comfortable. She liked to rest her legs over mine on the couch, or lean against me while scrolling through Instagram. Now she sat on the other end of the sectional, knees to chest, like I was occupying too much oxygen. She'd laugh at something on her phone, but never share it. And she always looked at her screen just a little too long before locking it. At night, she stopped kissing me goodnight, stopped turning to face me in bed. She'd lie on the far edge with her back to me, arms curled in tight like she was trying to physically fold herself away from me. Sometimes she'd mumble a half-hearted good night. Most times, nothing. We hadn't had *X in, I don't know, 8 maybe 10 weeks? It wasn't sudden. It was a slow drift. First she was tired, then cramping, then stressed. Until one night I reached for her and she gently pushed my hand away like it was just inconvenient. I remember that night. I asked her, not accusing, just confused, "Is everything okay between us?" She hesitated before answering. That was the part that stuck with me. It wasn't the answer, it was the delay. "Of course," she said eventually, and forced a smile I could feel from across the room. But something had broken. We both knew it. We just didn't name it. Another red flag? She started dressing up for meetings in ways that didn't make sense. I'm talking heels, layered perfume, curled hair, that subtle nude lipstick she used to wear back when we were still in the just-started dating phase. She said it was to look professional. Branding, client perception, all that. But I'd been to her pop-ups. I'd seen her work. Half the time her clients were barefoot in vineyards. It wasn't for work. Then there was the social media thing. She quietly archived all our couple photos on Instagram, the ones that showed our faces anyway. She left up some artsy brunch sh*ts and a birthday post from last year. But the ones of us smiling in hiking gear? The one of her kissing my cheek at the cabin? Gone. When I asked why, she rolled her eyes. "It's branding," she said. "People want to work with someone who looks independent, not like a housewife." I didn't know what to say to that. But the part that hurt the most? She forgot my birthday. Not just forgot to plan something. Completely forgot. No card, no note, no dinner reservation. I came home that evening with takeout and found her pacing the living room on a work call. She put up a finger to pause me, kept talking, and when she finally hung up, she gave me a tired look and said, "You okay?" I didn't say anything, just handed her the box of food I'd picked up for her. She opened it, sniffed it once, then said, "Ugh, this has cilantro, right? You know I hate that." That was the moment, I think, when I stopped pretending. Not entirely, but something in me clicked. Like a mental filing cabinet labeled "Denial" just got slammed shut. I started taking notes in my head, watching more carefully. She still claimed she was busy with a big client. The same client every time somehow. Always high stress, always demanding, but never available for a meet and greet. Never a name I could verify. I wanted to believe her. Honestly, I did. You don't invest 4 years in someone just to start doubting every word that comes out of their mouth. But doubt doesn't ask permission. It doesn't knock. It just shows up. And once it's there, it's like a leak in the roof. Quiet but constant. The worst part? I started doubting myself. Second-guessing every reaction. Was I being insecure? Possessive? Was I just tired? Burned out? Imagining things? Maybe I was the problem. Maybe she really was overworked, and I just didn't know how to support her. She used that against me too in subtle ways. If I asked a question too directly, she'd shift the tone instantly. Go cold. Accuse me of suffocating her. Call me paranoid. Controlling. Emotionally exhausting. One night I asked if we could take a weekend trip. Just the two of us. I suggested the cabin we stayed at during our first winter together. She barely looked up from her laptop. "Babe, I told you. I've got 3 client events this month. I don't have time to pretend I'm living in a Hallmark movie." It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Like being with me was an obligation. A thing to check off her list. I tried talking to her again after that. I brought up how distant we'd become. How much I missed just being with her. Laughing. Touching. She gave me the same look you'd give someone asking to reschedule a dentist appointment. "I'm just tired, Zach," she said. "Can't you give me a little grace?" I nodded. Of course I nodded. What else was I supposed to do? And yet, deep down, I already knew. I knew it in the way she pulled away from me in bed. In the way she flinched when I reached for her hand in the car. In the way her eyes glazed over when I talked about anything that didn't benefit her career. In the way she stopped saying, "I love you," and didn't notice that I had too. Maybe the biggest betrayal wasn't even what she was doing. It was how easily she stopped trying to hide it. I didn't set out to catch her. That's the thing I keep reminding myself. I wasn't trying to play detective or trap her in a lie. I just wanted to know the truth because not knowing not knowing, had started to eat me alive. It wasn't even jealousy at that point. It was something else. Something colder. Like my brain was trying to protect me from accepting what my heart already knew. It happened on a Tuesday. She told me she had a training session after work with a new friend she met at a fitness studio across town. A woman, she said. Someone named Carly or maybe Casey. I couldn't remember because she only ever mentioned her in passing, usually as a throwaway explanation for why she was showering late or why she was skipping dinner again. Carly's great, she'd said once, brushing her hair in the hallway mirror. Totally kicking my ass. You should try a couple session with us sometime. I just smiled, said, maybe. I didn't mean it. That Tuesday night, I got off work a little early, drove home in silence. I passed the gym she said she went to, some high-end, boutique place with floor-to-ceiling windows and branded water bottles that probably cost $10. Out of instinct, I slowed down. No plan, no intention, just passing by. But I saw her. I saw Emma walk out of the gym's double doors, hair pulled back in a high ponytail, a dark hoodie slung over her workout top. She looked beautiful, tired, but fresh, like she just showered. And she wasn't alone. The man walking beside her was tall, athletic build, dark jacket, clean cut. I couldn't see his face clearly from where I was parked across the street, but I saw enough. Enough to know this wasn't casual. His hand touched the small of her back as they reached his car. Just for a second, like it was muscle memory. She laughed at something he said, threw her head back, the way she used to when I was still the one making her laugh. They got into his car. I followed. I didn't even hesitate, which surprised me. There wasn't that movie-style debate, no dramatic pullover to stare into the rear view and ask myself what I was doing. I just drove, quiet, focused, like I'd slipped into someone else's life, someone who did these kinds of things. They drove about 20 minutes west, out past the city into a quieter neighborhood lined with brick buildings and bakeries that still close by 7 p.m. He parked near an old Italian place. Cozy, candlelit, white tablecloths, the kind of place you go when you want to have a night. We hadn't been there in over a year. I pulled into a lot half a block down, waited a few minutes, then walked past the restaurant window just once. Just enough to look in. There she was, Emma, sitting across from him in a corner booth, tucked into the far side of the room like they were trying to stay out of sight but not really trying that hard. She was leaning in, smiling. Her hand was on his knee under the table. I saw her thumb moving in slow circles. He was talking. She was laughing. And in that moment, something inside me just shut off. Not rage, not sorrow, just a kind of mental door sliding closed. Softly, quietly. I didn't go in. I didn't confront them. I didn't even take a photo. I just turned around and walked back to my car, climbed in, and stared at my own reflection in the windshield until it started to blur. There was no more doubt, no more room for excuses or misinterpretations, or giving her the benefit of the doubt. I had seen it. I had felt it. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a misunderstanding. She wasn't mine anymore, or maybe she never was. The rest of that night is a blur. I remember driving to a gas station, buying a pack of gum I didn't want, just to feel like I was doing something. I remember calling a friend, hanging up before he answered. I remember sitting in the parking lot of a 24-hour diner, watching an old couple share fries, wondering how people stay together that long. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I drove home, opened a blank Google Doc, and made a list. License, birth certificate, social security card, passport, checkbook, my laptop, charger, a week's worth of clothes, favorite hoodie, running shoes, spare keys, cash. It was just a checklist, but writing it felt like the first real action I'd taken in weeks. I didn't even fully know what it was for. I just knew I needed to be ready. When she got home later that night, I was already in bed, lights off, pretending to sleep. She slipped in beside me and didn't say a word, didn't even fake a yawn. Just laid there quietly, scrolling through her phone with the screen turned away from me. The bed felt too small, like we were two strangers on opposite ends of a life we used to share. I watched the ceiling fan spin, listened to her breath. And I realized this was the last night I'd spend in that house. Not because I couldn't stay, but because I didn't want to anymore. I didn't wake up that morning with some dramatic resolve. There was no big speech in my head, no imaginary soundtrack playing as I stared at the ceiling. I just felt done. Calm in a way that scared me more than panic ever could. Emma left early. She said she had another client walkthrough, kissed the air near my cheek, and walked out the door with the same bag she'd been using for weeks. The door clicked shut behind her, and that sound felt final. Not heavy, not tragic, just final. I waited 5 minutes. Then I got up. I moved through the apartment quietly, methodically, like I was following instructions someone else had already written for me. I grabbed the folder with my documents from the desk drawer, the one I'd started keeping just in case months ago, back when I still believed we were fine. Passport, birth certificate, insurance cards. I slid them into my backpack. Next came clothes. Not everything, just enough. Jeans, shirts, underwear, socks. My running shoes. The hoodie I always wore on long drives. I skipped anything sentimental. No photos. No souvenirs. No gifts she'd given me. I didn't want to carry reminders into whatever came next. I took cash out of the emergency envelope we kept in the hall closet. She never checked it. I left my credit cards. Left my laptop. Left the furniture. Left the life we'd built together piece by piece. Before I left, I sat at the kitchen table and wrote her a note. Not an angry one. Not a dramatic one. Just the truth. You're free. So am I. That was it. No accusations. No explanations. I folded it once and placed it on the counter where she always dropped her keys. Then I walked out. I didn't go far at first. I drove across town, past streets that didn't know me, neighborhoods where no one would recognize my car. I pulled into a small leasing office above an old coffee shop I'd noticed once months ago. The kind of place that smelled like cinnamon and burnt sugar even from the sidewalk. They had a studio available. Month to month. No questions asked. I signed the papers that same afternoon. By nightfall, I was lying on a mattress that wasn't mine, staring at a ceiling with a faint water stain shaped like a continent. The sounds outside were unfamiliar. Laughter from the cafe below, the hum of traffic, a bus braking at the corner. For the first time in weeks, I slept. I didn't check my phone until the next morning. 37 missed calls. Texts stacked on top of each other, shifting in tone as the hours passed. Confusion, anger, accusations, panic. Where are you? What the hell is this? You seriously just left? You don't get to do this without talking to me. I didn't respond. That afternoon, she came home and found the closet half empty. My side of the bathroom bare. My shoes gone. The note on the counter. She called again. I let it ring. I wasn't trying to punish her. I wasn't trying to win. I just didn't know her access to me anymore. She'd spent months disappearing emotionally. I was just making it physical. That night, I sat on the fire escape outside my new place, drinking bad instant coffee and watching the lights flicker on in other people's apartments. Lives happening in real time. Conversations I couldn't hear. Stories that didn't include me. Felt strange. Not lonely exactly. More like stepping out of a loud room and realizing how quiet your own thoughts could be. The next few days passed in a blur. I changed my routine, took different routes, slept deeper than I had in months. Every once in a while, a wave of something would hit me. Anger, sadness, disbelief, but it never lasted long. The silence helped. Space does that. It drains emotions of their power. She showed up at the apartment once. I wasn't there. The neighbor texted me later, asking if my girlfriend was okay because she looked frantic. I didn't reply. I didn't owe anyone explanations. I wasn't running away. I was stepping out. And the strange thing was, the farther I got from her, the more myself I felt. Like I'd been holding my breath for months without realizing it. And now my lungs finally had room to expand. I didn't know what would come next. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I wasn't going back. 3 days after I disappeared, something showed up at my door. It was an envelope. Plain, unmarked, slid under the door like some cowardly message in a spy film. For a second I thought it was just junk or an eviction notice or some mix-up from the old tenant. But then I saw the handwriting. Emma's. Inside was a single pregnancy test. Still in the wrapper, unopened. Taped to it was a note. 5 words. Written in rushed, shaky cursive. It's yours. Please call me. I sat there staring at it. The cheap little test rattling inside the plastic like a pebble in a bottle. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From anger. From insult. From the sheer audacity. She was good. I'll give her that. Timing it just right. Not calling, not texting, but sliding this under the door like some emotional grenade she could walk away from before it exploded. No confrontation. No room for me to ask questions. Just plant the seed and wait for the guilt to bloom. I didn't take the bait. I left the envelope on the kitchen counter and went for a walk. I needed air. I needed movement. I needed to make sure I could still trust myself not to fall for her manipulations again. Because here's the thing. We hadn't slept together in over 3 months. Maybe longer. And even then, I remembered the last time clearly. It was brief, awkward, disconnected. The kind of *Macy that happens out of obligation, not desire. After that, we barely touched. I started sleeping with my back to her. She stopped saying goodnight. And now, suddenly, she was pregnant? She didn't even try to make it believable. Still, for the sake of my own sanity, I did something I never thought I'd do. I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Zach, she breathed. Like she'd been waiting with the phone in her hand all day. Thank God. I didn't think you'd call. I'm not calling because I want to talk, I said. I just want you to explain what you left at my door. Silence. Then, I didn't know how else to tell you. I closed my eyes. Cut the act. We haven't been made in months. You know that. I know that. There was a pause. Too long. I know the timing's weird, she said quickly. But I was tracking my cycle and there was one night. In March, you remember, right? That weekend when we had wine and watched that dumb cooking show? I did remember that night. Because it never happened. We didn't even sleep in the same room that weekend. I'd spent most of it on the couch after she claimed she needed space to sleep. You're lying, I said quietly. No, I'm not, Zach, please, I'm scared. I'm not asking for anything. I just thought you had a right to know. She was crying now. Or pretending to. It was hard to tell over the phone. I didn't hang up. I just stopped talking. Eventually, she did too. I ended the call with a single sentence. If there's a baby, get a test. Then I blocked her. I didn't want to be dramatic. I just wanted peace. But that test, that envelope, that move proved something I'd only suspected before. Emma wasn't just cheating. She was playing everyone, including him. Because yeah, I knew about the guy now. His name was Wes. Took me 2 days to figure it out. He wasn't hard to track. She'd left enough breadcrumbs. Instagram tags, old comments she forgot to delete, a gym trainer who showed up in way too many backgrounds of her client stories. Wes was married. Had a wife named Danielle. A nurse, based on her Facebook profile. The kind of woman who posted anniversary tributes with full paragraphs and hashtags like #MyLove and #ThruffTheCanthin. I didn't want to drag her into it. But when someone's lying to you with that much coordination, you start to feel like truth is something you owe to the universe. Not just yourself. So I reached out. Danielle didn't answer right away. I sent a simple message through Instagram. Just said, hey, not sure if this is appropriate, but I think your husband might be involved with my partner. I have reason to believe they've been seeing each other. I expected hostility. What I got was instant typing. Then, I knew it. Just those 3 words. We messaged for hours that night, comparing notes, dates, photos, times Emma claimed she was with her clients. Danielle matched them to dates Wes claimed to be covering for a coworker or stuck late at the gym. To fit all of it, like puzzle pieces we'd both been trying to force into the wrong picture. Danielle had her suspicions for months too. He'd been taking longer showers, hiding his phone, coming home with the same distant look Emma wore. She'd even asked him once, point blank. Are you seeing someone? He swore on everything he had. Said he loved her. Said she was crazy for doubting him. Sound familiar? Danielle asked if I had proof. I told her about the hotel photo, the restaurant, the pregnancy lie. She said she had something too, a receipt from a jewelry store. Wes had bought a necklace a few weeks ago. Not for her. It was a silver pendant, she wrote. Heart-shaped. Said it reminded him of someone. My stomach turned. Emma wore a silver heart necklace the night she got home late and forgot her wallet at the venue. They weren't even careful anymore. I asked Danielle what she wanted to do. She said, I don't know yet, but I needed to know I wasn't crazy. I told her, same. That weekend, I went through the last of my stuff from the old apartment. I kept a few boxes in my car, unsure if I was ready to sort through them. One was labeled Memories. Inside, photos, anniversary cards, ticket stubs from concerts we'd gone to in better times. It didn't hurt the way I thought it would. I looked at her handwriting in the birthday cards. Little hearts over the eyes, smiley faces in the margins. It all felt fake now, like props from a stage play that had ended months before I noticed the curtain falling. I burned the box in a fire pit behind my new building. Every flame felt like a line being crossed. Every photo that curled into ash felt like a weight lifted. And in the middle of it all, I got another message. From Emma. New number. Just said, please talk to me. I made a mistake. I stared at it. Didn't reply. Blocked that one too. Because by now I wasn't confused. I wasn't sad. I was free. I met up with our mutual friends for dinner. Not to rehash the past, just to say goodbye without disappearing. Emma showed up, uninvited. She played it cool at first, smiled too much, laughed too loud. But when the topic turned to travel plans, she cut in, Zach's not going anywhere. He doesn't even have the imagination for that. He's too scared of change. It hit like a slap. The table went quiet. A few forced laughs. I didn't react. I just smiled because I already knew something she didn't. That night, after the last dish was cleared, I was done. I moved the rest of my things, changed my number, blocked her everywhere. No goodbye, no fight, just silence. The kind that feels like healing. By morning, I was gone. 2 weeks later, her mom messaged me. She wrote, you deserve to know. Emma told me the baby probably isn't yours. She made it up to get you back. I didn't feel anger, just peace. A month later, I met Lily. Not perfect, but real. We talked for hours in a bookstore. No lies, no masks. Emma texted once more after the DNA results came back. I never responded. Some stories don't end. They just stop being about you.